it's obviously something I believe that has come again from the Middle East, and what we keep seeing here with all of these grave goods is that there is this Middle East link.
Right, now we're on to the shield. Wow, look at this fantastic thing.
Now, again, this is another reproduction.
I was going to say that I'm imagining that what they found didn't look much like that.
You can imagine they just found all the metal work. You know, the actual wood and the leather is rotted away. It's quite a big shield, 90.5 centimeters, and it's got a convex shape, and it's made of 3 lime planks.
Yeah, that is big, isn't it? Yeah, and I'm not a narrow person, you know, and that's well past my shoulders.
So, it's big. So was the guy a big guy? Don't know, because we haven't got his body. We don't know.
If I'm holding that to cover my face, that's right down almost to my knees.
Yeah.
That is a big shield, yeah. I mean, I imagine that'd be quite heavy as well.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. That's one of the issues with it. It's made of 3 lime planks underneath, and then leather covering either side. Now the lime planks are going horizontally across it, because if someone's striking you, that's stronger than if the planks were vertical.
It's like to split it down the length, right?
Yeah, because you could end up splitting the wood and going through it. So the planks are, it's all very scientific what they're doing. These guys were not amateurs in how they're making it.
Well, and it's got depends on it, doesn't it? You learn quick.
And it's got a bit of a rolled convex edge. You see this bit here where it's shining, so it's convex in across it, but there's also the edges a bit more chamfered all the way around it, and it's got a metal rim, which again is unusual for an Anglo-Saxon shield. It's not common, but the rim would of course help with protection with a sword striking the edge of it.
So convex. Do you mean the edges are coming away from the wearer then, as it were, forwards?
No. The
other way.
The other way.
Okay.
It's all rounded in front of you.
Curving back that way. Okay, I just want to clarify.
All curving back, but the edges are curved back a little bit more.
Okay.
And it's all to do with protection. All the decorative motifs are made of copper alloy gilded with gold.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of the even later Vikings are quite famous for having rubbish shields, aren't they? They were pretty much wood with a bit of leather over them and almost disposable. I've read accounts they could get through 4 or 5 in one battle.
Yeah, well,
there was the older style, the older British ones, or even Romans, that kind of thing. They were much more sophisticated shields that were designed to last. A different kind of approach. This thing's a very sophisticated shield, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But again, due to all the metal fittings more than the wood, the shield is very heavy. Because if you imagine if you had a shield of the same size without all the metal fittings, you've still got the wood, which is needed to protect you. So
the weight's all falling away from you, isn't it?
It would be a standard shield, but add all of this metalware to make it look like it does. Spectacular.
Yeah.
I am the king. Or I am your leader.
Doesn't look like a fighting shield, does it? Surely.
Well,
that boss in the middle. I mean, is that gold covered, or is it solid gold, or
no? The boss is iron, but all the decorations are copper alloy, all around.
Maybe I take that back then. Yeah.
Yeah, the black bit in the middle is that you can see is iron. All the rest is copper.
That makes more sense because that's where you need your strong point, isn't it?
Now, right in the middle of the shield, right in the middle of the boss, there's a little bit here, which again is one of these things I was told in school, and it's a little decorative disc that sticks out. And I was told in school that they were on the shields to prevent, it would trap and deflect a sword blade coming down on your shield. You've got a little protuberance, if you look at it.
Okay, it's just deflected a bit, sort of thing. Is that the idea?
Yeah, deflect it. But again, the modern armourers have looked at this, and they've looked at the rivets hanging onto it, and they said, it would just come straight off as soon as the sword hit it. It's only for decoration. It doesn't serve a functional. It hasn't got a functional function.
Yeah, I thought all those little embellishments on the boss wouldn't last 5 minutes in a proper fight, would they?
No. So
I mean, shields themselves didn't always last that long if someone's really having a go at you.
well, no, if you were having a real battle, I can imagine, so it's a new, bring me a new shield, so I can go back into the fray again, because they would get hammering, because that is your protection. You're taking every blow that's made at you on your shield.
Yeah, because I know with William Wilson's writing that the big difference with the British shields is they would put many layers of leather on top rather than a wood structure, layer after layer after layer, which have a kind of a absorbing effect. It's not as heavy and kind of clings to a sword. I get that famous story with the fight with Caesar, of course, only with his sword getting trapped in the shield. Because if you've got a hard shield like this, you kind of get that impact and bashing up the shield a bit.
Well, but don't forget, the purpose of the shield is defensive. You have the famous Anglo-Saxon shield war. You've got all your shields, and it's a bit like modern police tactics. You've got your shield,
similar,
and what you're doing with your shield is you're pushing people back. You're using your shield to push it back. If it was flexible, you wouldn't want it to fold like an umbrella as you push it.
Yeah, maybe not that flexible, but absorbent. I was thinking, really, yes.
So if you think police tactics, you've got your truncheon, you've got your shield, and you're pushing people back and you're bashing them at the same time. We see it happening today. That's the same thing. Now, all of these decorations on there, we'll see on the next slide, but the big one is in this one here on the, I keep on losing my,
center right, look at that thing. That's a fish or something. What is that?
No, it's a bird of prey.
Oh, it's a bird of prey. Okay.
And here in his knee joint here, or his leg joint, is a man's face made of garnets, which we can see here.
Very nice. Very nice.
And on this drawing here, they've taken out the various design elements. They've taken out all the ones which have got eyes on them. Every single one of these decorations has got eyes on them. And we keep coming back down to this Odin theory, where Odin was one-eyed, and all of these eyes, one of them is always going to be blinded or defected somehow.
They look like they got two eyes there, don't they? Doesn't look one eye there.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of this stuff has got two eyes, but when you look closely, one of them will have been what's the right word to say for it? Disfigured in some way. It would have been scratched, or if there's two little garnets in the eyes, one of the garnets would be missing. It would actually be prized out, so you just left with one. And this has given rise to this theory that they're all meant to represent Odin or be related to Odin or Odin, because he's a one-eyed god. I can't say I'm really 100% on board with that idea. I can see where they're coming from, but I think it's a lot of things.
I think if you go right the way back to ancient Egypt, you got the story of Horus and everything. That's because Cyrus, and there you end up with a one-eye system, don't you? And they're trying to make an artificial eye and stuff.
I keep going back to Homer and the Iliad, where you've got Cyclops.
Yeah.
Which takes you back to Troy,
Yeah. Well, ancient Egypt, you definitely have a big thing with the one eye, end up with the eye of Horus and all that, because that's part of the concepts of infinity about, anyway, won't go to it now, but I mean,
it's obviously something I believe that has come again from the Middle East. And what we keep seeing here with all of these grave goods is that there is this Middle East link, which isn't played up really by the mainstream enough, I don't think.
No, well, they were forced to recently, but we'll come on to that in a future program, won't we, with some of the recent finds, which seem to be definitely Middle East. But anyway, we'll come on to those. Right, okay, so now we're on to an axe stroke hammer.
So you can see this axe hammer. Now, this is a very interesting one, because it's about 750 millimeters long, head length is about 200 millimeters, and it weighs 3 kilograms, and it's all made of metal.
So that's quite big for a hammer, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's as long as the sword was.
Yeah, and that's the problem with it. It's too long and too heavy for one-handed use. So you can't use this with a shield, because with the shield and this, you'd be falling over, because both things are too heavy. So it's too long for one-handed use with the shield.
A metal handle seems unusual as well, doesn't it?
Yes, and it's not there's no decoration on it at all. It is just a purely functional thing.
It looks like a working tool rather than a weapon, perhaps.
Yeah, so it's double-sided head. On one side, it's got an axe head, on the left-hand side here,
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
the sharp edge.
and on this side is basically a hammerhead. It starts out at the top with a rectangular profile to fit it into the head part, and as it goes down the shaft, it changes into an oval and then into a circle base. And right at the base, it's got you can't see it very well, but it's got a little bit of a metal gimbal ring on it. So it's got a ring which turns around, which means that you could attach it to a lanyard or something like that. The ring at the bottom actually swivels round.
Oh, okay.
So it says that if you attach it to something or put a lanyard on something. So it's very crudely made in comparison to the high quality of all the other grave goods. And it wasn't found.
Involved. That's the strange thing, isn't it?
Pardon?
So much metal though, that handle, that seems strange to have.
Well, there's nothing else to it, and they don't believe there was anything else. It was just a purely metal artifact.
It looks more agricultural than military, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. It wasn't found near any of the other weapons within the grave.
Okay.
So it wasn't with the sword and the shield and the spears that were there. And it's not a practical weapon. It's too long and heavy for one-handed use. And so it's been suggested it was either a timber splitting tool or a poleaxe for killing cattle. And such a work item is just anomalous. If the boat is really a tomb for a king, why would you include it? I mean, this is how they think it was used. Wow. You see that?
Yeah. I mean, that literally seems like overkill, doesn't it?
So, a tool like that has a use, and it would be for killing cattle. Now, would a king undertake that kind of work himself? Surely he'd have a whole pile of people who would do that for him.
It's a strange thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So if it wasn't his personal tool or weapon, and it would be a strange weapon if it was a weapon, why was it included in the burial goods graves?
That is a strange one. Maybe should hear suggestions for that. It almost looks like a plough to me. It's like you could attach the end to the back of the bull and have him drag it through the earth. That's why you'd have a metal handle on it.
And again, the drawing there, I would suggest that if you're killing a cow, you wouldn't use the axe head. You'd actually hit it on the head with the hammer end. and as drawn there, you're hitting it with the axe head, which would split its skull. I would think, and I might be corrected on this, but I would think myself, the first thing you do with it is you stun the animal, or kill it with a blow through the head. Use a hammerhead to smash through its skull.
Not something I've ever done, but
and then you then use the axe head to actually cut it up into chunks.
Get all technical with me, Bob. Yeah.
So those are the weapons that we're going to look at in the grave. There were a lot of others. There were spears and things like that, but again, all of those have got their own story, and there's they're all. Yeah, we could be here for hours if we spent time looking at those.
Let's do it one by one. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, well, as you said, we've up to
180 episodes. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed that and found it informative. Britain's Hidden History Group has so much more going on our YouTube channel. The one you're watching now, there's a live stream, 8 o'clock UK time every Sunday. We speak to people like Wilson and Blackett, reprint their old books and help produce new ones. We go researching to the tops of mountains, all the way down to the bottoms of caves. Busily recording the books so you can listen to them as well, and looking at mysteries and working out what we're not being taught in schools and preserving it, because the physical and written evidence is rapidly disappearing. You can also find out how to read ancient writing and hieroglyphs using the Welsh language. It's amazing. There's a Facebook group where this is being discussed. Along with a website, you can buy the books and help us. Also, as you can see, there's now a Patreon page where just a few pounds a month will make all the difference in trying to keep the project going and preserve this history for future generations, and also to find out for ourselves what is going on, what is Britain's hidden history. So until the next time, Heddwch!